Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. I want to say bienvenidos to all of our listeners in Latin America, also across the pond in London, England, as well as Paris, France. Of course, you good old boys from Africa, you know we love the Big C tribe. We love them in Canada, but Big C, there's no one we love more than the good old boys down south, in the land of the free and the home of the brave, on a beautiful September 10th, 2018. Big C, how's it going for you good old boys down south?
Charlton, there's a whole lot of sad people down here in the South after a weekend of illustrious football. You know, everything didn't turn out the way that everybody planned, and you know, they found out that fantasy leagues weren't real football.
Well, I understand that, Big C. I don't know what happened in the world of make-believe, but I tell you, I got some people calling me from Vegas right now because a lot of these guys that we were told were can't miss, they're either sitting the bench or throwing a pick six. There's a lot going on in the world of the sports universe, from tennis and Serena Williams. I felt she was jobbed. If you're an official, why are you yelling at your contestants? Give them a warning before you take away points. That doesn't make any sense. Also in baseball, if you saw the game, the Boston Red Sox, the Houston Astros last night, I think Altuve got robbed. He was actually safe at home. If we're going to have instant replay, if you don't get it right, just get rid of instant replay. College football, what's going on with UCLA? Fight, fight, fight. They got to hear that song more often before they play schools like Oklahoma. And also the world of the NFL, which, Big C, I know that's what you like to like, what you say, cut your teeth on, Big C, back in the day, cut your teeth on pro sports. I do want to say today's segment is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive yours, tell them Charlton and Big C sent you. So there's so much going on in the sports universe. I want to start with Osaka and her tennis match with Serena Williams. Now, I know watching guys like John McEnroe, well, he would pretty much undress the official. I mean, calling expletives. He was like Jackie Gleason playing tennis and then objecting to a call. So I felt that I want to get your thoughts because Serena, she had an opinion to the official about I was not cheating. He accused her in front of the whole universe about cheating. She felt she was not. And he kind of undressed her in front of the public, and she defended herself, and it cost her points. Mix of your thoughts.
Well, Charlton, everybody in professional sports receives coaching, whether you want to look at it or not. It all occurs. We all look at those that are in the stands or on the sidelines for direction as far as helping us correct what we do as athletes.
Yep.
But as far as this official, going over the bounds, Charlton, he really did. I mean, she didn't use one word of profanity at any point during her conversation with this official. And that's one of the problems we have. Why do we have male officials officiating female matches? You're going to tell me that there's no competent female officials out there that can't be officiating a championship? So this goes back to round one, Charlie.
Yep.
We had a French tennis player who had to change her top because it was inside out that didn't feel right there on the court. She received a warning. Yet males are allowed to take out their shirts at all times on the sidelines and change shirts and never get a warning. So there's a double standard.
Yeah.
But not only did she receive 3 warnings, Charlton, but she had a match taken away from her. She lost one game completely.
Yeah.
So even though she was down and not taking any away from Osaka, I mean, just a tremendous job done by this young lady, Charlton, in winning her first year's, Open Championship, Charlton.
Yeah.
But just the official, he should never be allowed to officiate another female's match again, Charlton, and he also should be suspended.
Yeah.
You can't go out there as an official and make yourself the mainstay of a major sporting event, Charlton. You leave that to the athletes. You sit up in the chair, you become a non-entity, and don't make it personal. And he did make it personal against Serena.
Yeah, and I thought the main thing, and again, sports, this is what I love about sports, Big C, and we can always say what we want to say about sports, but there's something about, it's just like Cadillac, the standard of the world. You can go by and test drive it, and the Escalade, we know the Escalade is the cream of the crop for the SUVs, at least American-made. It rivals anything out there. Presidents use them, dignitaries use them, athletes use them, entertainers, people know that. But someone can call it, they can say they like something different. And I think And I want to stand by the side of the athlete because they're in the game. And what Serena simply was stating, it was less harmful, more innocuous than John McEnroe, who would dress down officials all the time. Now maybe I have to Google it, but I don't see him having a game stripped from him or a set stripped from him. And to have some of the men in the tennis universe call in or tweet in to back Serena, I think that's important because she was just dressed down about what she wore over across the pond, and now back in their own country, the land of the free, the home of the brave, this similar type of treatment from a judge that had no business in taking points away without at least saying, look, if you do this again, then I'm going to take it. But just to take it away more than once doesn't make any sense. Your thought on the men stepping up and defending her, Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, this is not just the men, but it's the golf universe. I mean, the tennis universe.
Yeah.
You have to stand with your compadres in this, Charlton, as a professional. Because officials get too much power when we look at what's going on. You're out there battling. You've been battling for 2 weeks, and you have some individual who wants to make a statement about themselves and say, hey, I can control this.
Yeah.
I have the last word, which you do as an official.
Yep.
And to take away a game, in a serious match like this from players, Charlton, who are competing for a title, that's unjust. It's unheard of.
Yep.
And as you talk about it, we've had many players over the decades, Charlton.
Oh, yeah.
John McEnroe, Ely Nastasi, Jan Boyd. I mean, we've had them dress them down, Charlton, and nothing has ever come from it. And here's a situation where a female tennis player stands there and addresses the official respectfully, Charlton.
Yeah.
Respectfully. No profanity used. And you feel that you're going to upstage her by taking away a match, Charlton. That's just unfair.
Yeah, I think that's unfair. So again, I stand on the side of Serena. I'm so proud of the tennis universe, and this is what I'll say about the tennis universe compared to maybe even the football universe. Of the people who came to the aid of Serena, she not only had enough class to tell the crowd to stop booing, and she embraced Osaka and said, let's be classy here. But these people came to her defense right away. It wasn't like the NFL, where some players even took their time to come to the side of Colin Kaepernick. I'm just saying, I appreciate when athletes are not afraid to just speak your mind. It's better to correct someone when they're wrong now as opposed to waiting for a year. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, maybe some of the consciousness came from the Nike commercial featuring Colin Kaepernick, where he did address Serena Williams in that commercial, and maybe people starting to get the point by taking a step back and listening to the truth instead of listening to all these media proponents saying that something is what it is not.
Yeah.
And a lot of these athletes are backed by Nike, so when they see that one of the people in the same fraternity in Charlton are coming to the light and say, hey, we have to be honest about what's really going on. We just can't turn a blind eye because that athlete doesn't look like us physically.
Yeah.
We have to be honest about what we're visualizing.
No, I love what you're saying right there, Big C. So again, great tennis, great theater. Love seeing people coming to stand up for one of their fellow competitors. It's just about doing what's right. I also want to throw this to the world of golf. In the golf universe, at the BMW Championships, and what an amazing tournament. It took today to have to finish up the round because the weather's been so inclement. And now I just want to congratulate, Bradley, who shot -20. And you think about what he did. With he and Rose competing at the very end, Rose gave up the tournament because he had some bogeys in the end. Talk about the pressure that hits people. I also want to congratulate Tiger Woods, who was in a tie for 6th place at 17 under, and just like a fine-tuned car, you gotta tune it right. I know you guys do the same thing down south when you get in what you call the libations tuned up. Big C, you got to get the libation right, so you got to tune it up sometime and make sure you mix it right. Golf right now, again, Tiger comes in 6th place, but he still gets more pub than Bradley at the top in 1st place, and even Rose as they two competed down the stretch. Give me your thoughts universally, why that's still the case, Big C, your thoughts.
Well, Charlton, you need a polarizing figure in any sport that you look at, whether it's football, basketball, baseball. You look at LeBron James, he gets more ink in basketball than anybody. He's not winning the championship, but he gets the ink. You have appeal regardless of what city that you're in.
Yeah.
Tiger's always had that draw appeal. Trust me, Charlton, and all the other golfers on the circuit realize it and appreciate it. They don't worry about the prestige that Tiger receives because they know that when Tiger is there, Charlton,
Yep.
is that they're going to have a gallery that's full of people.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a lot of open space, and they get to have those crowds cheering for them also.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that's beautiful about golf, Charlton. You can have a person who outshines everybody, win or lose. But that person, by outshining everybody, Charlton, brings the masses to the golf course.
Yeah.
And so you have these huge galleries every week when Tiger is playing. You go back 3 years ago when Tiger wasn't playing, Charlton, and measure the gallery size.
Yeah.
Not only that, measure the television viewership. So people appreciate Tiger. The broadcasters appreciate Tiger. The fans appreciate Tiger, Charlton. And half of the young men on the circuit today, Charlton, that are out there playing, that are under 30 years of age.
Yeah.
Tiger was the reason why they play golf, Charlton.
Yeah.
Because of what he did on the circuit 2 decades ago, Charlton, he drove them to want to be competitive, to be like Tiger, to have this person that they can identify with, this man who came from nowhere,
Yeah.
young man who came from nowhere, that allowed the world to witness that, hey, I'm as good, if not better than anybody. And that's what drives all the young golfers today.
Yeah.
It's just like what you saw in the U.S. Open with Osaka and Serena. She just wanted to play Serena. She wanted to be able to compete against her idol.
Yeah.
The person who drove her to be a professional, who
Yeah.
drove her to be an excellent tennis player. And that's what we see on the golf circuit, Charlton. You see all these young players out there wanting to compete and defeat Tiger
Yeah.
because he provides the opportunity and the insight for them to be what they are today.
Well, I think that's very well said, Big C. And for all the people in the golf universe, they think about who is going to win a tournament. Will Tiger win again? Well, think about the guys that were right there neck and neck with Tiger. McIlroy finished minus 18th. He was in 5th. But then I looked under him. Fowler finished tied for 8th. He was minus 16. Fleetwood tied for 8th at minus 16. Molinari, which is a lot of hype has been coming behind him. Well, he finished tied for 8th at minus 16. And then Finau minus 16 as well. You think about Kevin Na, minus 15. There's so many people that are great in the golf universe. Johnson finished minus 24. I mean, he's tied for 24th at minus 11. He wasn't near the top 10. Day, minus 11, tied for 24th. It's all about trying to compete week after week. I know Tiger will win. He's going to tie Jack and have that 18th major. It may take another 2 years, maybe 3, but I think in 2 years, and the world of golf will never be the same. Because if Tiger Woods, Big C, and you talked about it before, if he can move the needle coming in 6th place, tied for 6th, at minus 17, just 3 shots off the championship. That's just 3 away. If he can move the needle when he's in 6th place, minus 3 off the championship, Big C, what's he going to do when he wins major number 15? What about major number 16? What about major number 17? And I'll just say on Big C Sports, as we had major number 17, whether that happens in the next year and a half or 2, that would be the most anticipated TV network coverage probably in the history of sports, because it's a worldwide thing. It's not just a local thing where people in the United States want to follow. I want to get your thoughts if you think that's somewhat accurate, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, first and foremost, Charlton, he's going to have to get rid of those bogeys in the final round. He had 2 late bogeys yesterday, Charlton, that took him out of it. You think about that. That's 4 strokes.
Yeah.
He had 3 strokes off the lead.
Yeah.
Those 4 strokes, Charlton, they cost him the tournament. Tiger has to get over that mentally and physically.
Yeah.
Then he can think about winning the championship. But he has to bring his complete game together, Charlton. And it's been some time. If we think about it, he's been out of competition for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
So when you think about a guy coming onto the professional circuit, this is how you have to judge Tiger. This is a comeback. This is the second stage of a career.
Yeah.
This is the guy that was in retirement, came out of retirement. And you look at how competitive he's been in this second run of his career. You have to throw out that first 15 years of his professional career.
Yeah.
Discount that completely because he's not that same guy. He's a guy learning to compete on the PGA circuit.
Yep.
That's what everybody has to understand. He's a golfer who's learning how to compete. He's not the Tiger Woods of old. He's the Tiger Woods who is learning how to compete. And if everyone looks at him from that perspective, then they'll understand where he is professionally.
Yeah. I tell you what, it's always exciting when we have this in the grasp of our hands. It's like with baseball, it's the hunt for Red October. Who's going to get in? I want to just bring up a couple of things in baseball, and then we'll hit big on some football because I know football dominated the weekend. But I look at Major League Baseball in the American League East. You have the Red Sox at top of the heap, 98-46. The Yankees 89-54. And that's in the East. When I saw the game last night, Big C, it was like an ALCS. When Houston went into Boston, and Houston went up early, got a big lead. Boston came back. It was tied going into the 8th. In the 9th inning, I thought Houston had won that game because Altuve had scored, which was going to give them the lead. He scored, and they showed the replay. And I want to get your thoughts on this because I know it bothers you, but it bothered me more last night than any other time. It reminded me of the Tuck rule with the Oakland Raiders back in the day with Tom Brady and the Raiders went in the Foxborough. They showed the replay maybe 10 times. The guys during the game were saying, he's safe. These are guys who are right there closer than we are saying he's safe. They have TV monitors and they're in the stadium at Fenway Park. Why is it the officials or the crew can get on the phone and talk to whoever they talk to? It takes 10 minutes to see what the guys were saying in 2 minutes. We need to get rid of replay because it adds to the fact that some games can be bought. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, I've always looked at it from that perspective. If you can't get the replay right on the first or the second look, as well as everybody who's watching the television and the broadcasting during the game, then you have some personal interest in the game financially. I've always thought that, even when football brought in replay, that when you take 2-3 minutes off into the side, whether something accurate, that gambling has always been very profound in sports, Charlton.
Yep.
And replay, you should get 30 seconds to look at replay, 45. There should be a time limit.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be unlimited time. That you walk in there, you get 2 looks at it, and you get 2 angles.
I love that.
That's all you need is 2 angles.
Yeah.
And it's over with.
Yeah.
You know, you make the decision, but don't sit there on the sideline like everybody watching television across America is oblivious.
Yeah.
If they got glaucoma or something. If they don't see.
Yeah.
You know, but that's what you're saying. But I think, you know, in my personal insight, Charlton, it has to be some financial stake.
It has to be.
You can't get it right, and it takes you more than 30 seconds to see more than 2 replays to say, I still can't figure it out.
Yeah.
It's conclusive.
Yeah. I think what you're saying makes a lot of sense, so that means it may not happen. Big C, I want to say the AL Central, the Indians 81-62. The Twins are 65-77 in the AL West. Again, that game last night, it prevented Houston to getting to 90 wins, 89-54, followed by the A's at 87-57. Some great theater coming down the stretch in the National League. Big C, the Braves 79-64. The Phillies are 74-68. The Braves have that new stadium. I know there were people saying, why build a new stadium? We still got one that was used for the Olympics. But it seems like the whole, I can't say the city of Atlanta anymore because it's no longer in Atlanta. It's kind of in a suburb. But what a great way they're starting to thank the taxpayers of whatever county they're in for helping them get the money to build that stadium. They're starting to win, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, you know, the revitalization of the organization and being productivity, you know, they weren't expected to be a good team this year.
No.
But they have a couple young players, Charlton, that have really electrified this team. And this team is grassroots. They got a couple-game lead in the East and just playing tremendous baseball. You know, when you think about the sport, it's about getting hot at the right time, going on streaks.
Yeah.
You want to avoid those 4 to 5 game losing streaks, Charlton. When you can go out and win 2 out of 3 series that you're in on a consistent basis, it should get you into the playoffs in Major League Baseball.
Well, Big C, you would think that's the case. And even as we look at the NL Central, the Cubs at 83-59, and the Brewers are right on their heels at 82-62. So that's a good race going on there. As we swing out west to the National League, the Rockies are 78-54. The Dodgers are 78-65. And the Dodgers are the favorite team, even though they're right on the heels of the Rockies. And I think media would love to see if the LA Dodgers could get in too. I think that would make more sense for the media if you had the Dodgers in the World Series playing a team perhaps like the Boston Red Sox. So we'll see what happens in the hunt for Red October as a lot of good old boys are swinging them bats all over the country. Big C, I know that you're a football guy, so you're probably chomping at the bit. let's just get right to it. I want to congratulate your favorite team in the universe in Alabama. Alabama, again, ranked number 1 in the country. I know their schedule hasn't been that difficult, but they are number 1. They had both quarterbacks, Tua and also Hurts, throwing for touchdowns, and they can look unstoppable at times. But I'm hard-pressed to say the best team in the country is not Ohio State, but I want to get your thoughts on Alabama. They dominated Arkansas State, and to no surprise, Big C, your thoughts.
Well, the thing about Alabama, Charlton, is that they handle business. You go out there and you beat the opponent that's next on the schedule.
Yeah.
When you look at the schedules that these teams have, Charlton, these schedules were put together more than 5 years ago.
Yeah.
It wasn't like an NFL schedule where they come out and say, okay, we're going to have the power rankings and put together a schedule.
Yeah.
Because traveling and all these other things are put in place. So when you have a top-ranked team, Charlton, and also they have some, cupcake on the schedule, like I said, Nick loves to go to the game. All of a sudden, you can't blame the players in the university, Charlton.
Right.
Because these were put together years ago. You schedule the teams at the time. They may not have been a powerhouse.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, they change their schedule around, Charlton, and program, and they become a power team. So you end up with power teams playing each other early in the season.
Yeah.
And Alabama, they just have so much depth that it's hard to beat and compete with this team. You get these young coaches at these new universities and say, well, they don't have their players in yet. They don't have the depth that they need.
Right.
Alabama is too deep in every position, Charlton, regardless of what position it is. And they're just going to go out and dominate until they find a tough opponent.
Yeah, I think that's very true. And also, I want to congratulate, we played to win the game. Arizona State down in the desert, taking on Michigan State, a Big Ten, Pac-12 rival. And the Pac-12 needed this rivalry. I mean, Pac-10 at the time used to dominate the Big Ten. Now they're the Pac-12. And outside of USC, they've kind of taken their lumps when they played bigger competition, or at least guys that are big enough to beat them. But a big win for Edwards, and he has Arizona State rolling basically. They're actually 2-0 in the season, when a lot of people thought that maybe Arizona State was kind of maybe a year or two away. They're actually in the top spot in the Pac-12 South, even ahead of USC. Big C, your thoughts on Herm Edwards?
Well, Charlton, when you think about Arizona State, he's one of 3 new coaches that were heralded coming into this conference this year. Chip Kelly, Kevin Sumlin, and Herm Edwards.
Yeah.
Edwards have been out of coaching, Charlton, over a decade.
Yeah.
Long time. And everyone was saying, well, he was too far removed, and he's never coached at the college level.
Yep.
But he's proved everybody wrong. Chip Kelly is 0-2 at UCLA.
Yeah.
Kevin Sumlin is 0-2 at Arizona. And both of those programs will look very dismal this year, Jonathan. But when you look at what Herman Edwards has been able to do, come in and motivate the players to get them to play his brand of football.
Yeah.
That's what you want as a coach. He's not making an excuse that my players are not in place and I'm going to need a year to turn this program around.
Yep.
As everyone else does, as they take a paycheck. Well, if it takes a couple of years, what's the matter? That's how you get the program turned around. Don't take a paycheck until you make a bowl game or have at least an 8-game win.
Yeah.
Coaches don't do that. But Herm Edwards is like, as you say, we play to win the game.
Yeah.
He's won both of his games at Arizona State.
Well, I really congratulate because Georgia dominates South Carolina in the SEC. Not really a surprise to you, Big C, but maybe a surprise to South Carolina. Your thoughts?
Well, I thought that game would be a little more competitive, Charlton. They were playing in Carolina, and you thought that home field crowd would have motivated them a little bit. But, Georgia just happens to be a dominant team. And you look at Fromm, the quarterback, not having a sophomore Jinx, Charlton, that running game is still intact, even though they lost Chubbs and Michelle. That offensive line, Charlton, is as big as all outdoors that they have.
Yeah.
And they have nothing but tremendous speed across the line on defense, Charlton, and they just got after South Carolina.
Yeah, I think that's very true. So I was really impressed to see how Georgia just keeps rebuilding and then re-adding. Big C, I think the game that was billed as the number one game this weekend, and maybe it lived up to that. Number one, I want to congratulate the stadium and the fans at Kyle Field down at Texas A&M. If anyone wants to see what college football is, I know it's the Southwest, but that crowd is electric. And also, they almost beat Clemson, even though they were coming from behind. So I can't maybe say almost, but that crowd surely gave them the energy to get back in it. What did you learn by Clemson and Dabo Swinney, the way he can recruit? And I know them good boys down at Texas A&M almost got them, but Clemson really impressed. They have a dual quarterback situation, a lot like Alabama. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, the greatest thing that Clemson possesses is their defense. They kept A&M in check most of the night. You know, the quarterbacks are still struggling at Clemson. The running game is not completely there. But they had bad weather conditions, Charlton. You played in a lot of rain down there in College Station.
Yeah.
But that defense of Clemson, you know, is legitimate. And that's what you have to do. You know, A&M can do some good things offensively. They're going to be better as the year goes on, Charlton. But, you know, Clemson took care of business, and they're still number 2 in the country.
Yeah, I really like them. Ohio State, how can you slow down the Buckeyes? You know, they say a Buckeye is a nut. I think someone's nuts for trying to schedule Ohio State, even though Rutgers had to do it. I wonder if Rutgers appreciate the money they've gotten out of the Big 16 or Big 19, Big 10 conference, because they get drubbed almost every week. But Ohio State, again, they're doing this without their head coach at the helm. Maybe Ohio State realize we're paying Urban about $11 million a year. We can have the backup coach, and we're still going to win in the blowout game, Big C. Maybe they don't need Urban Meyer after all, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, you talk about a team that just gets talented. You know, we talked about the talent at Alabama.
Yeah.
The talent that Ohio State has, Charlton, is second to nobody in this country. You know, they don't have a quarterback controversy. They just have a quarterback. This young man can play, Charlton.
Oh, yeah.
He's shown all the attributes of a pure quarterback. I mean, he has the deep ball. He has the intermediate routes, Charlton. He knows how to audible. The running game is very solid. And that defense of Ohio State is just relentless.
Oh, yeah.
So when you look at what Haskins has done, Charlton, you know, he had 7 touchdowns in his first 2 games.
Yep.
This young man has more touchdowns than any Big Ten quarterback has ever done in their first 2 games.
Yeah.
And so, you know, when you think about who's number 1 in the country, Charlton, it's a coin flip right now between Ohio State and Alabama.
Well, when you say that, there's some good old boys down in Norman that might be a little bit salty about what you said, Big C. Oklahoma pounding UCLA. The connection Oklahoma, UCLA, Troy Aikman back in the day with transferring from Oklahoma to UCLA, Barry Switzer and Terry Donahue. This Oklahoma team is legit. I'm not saying UCLA is that good this year, okay? But they went in there and they played like they were afraid. I wouldn't expect to see that. This is a school from Los Angeles. It's not as if they don't have talent, but they get beat down. Chip Kelly, he's going to turn it around. It's going to take him maybe another year or two. But just give me your thoughts. He was away from football for a long time, but so was Herman Edwards. What's the excuse for Chip Kelly getting a beat down by Oklahoma? And LA is the number 2 large city in the country, so they can't say they're hurting for talent. Based on your thoughts.
Well, Charlton, the most disappointing thing about this game was the Oakland A's. They sit there and keep hoping that Kyler Murray will step in the quarterback. Because they didn't get to come over and play baseball with all the money that they're paying.
Yeah.
But this young man, Charlton, just gets better and better every week. You know, we saw him in the opening game against Florida International.
Yep.
And he didn't play but a quarter and a half, Charlton, but we saw what he could do even under the pressure of a bigger program, Charlton, against UCLA. He just made them look very pedestrian. I mean, this team, when you look across the board, and there's so many teams early in the season. We talked about Alabama, Ohio State, and now you put Oklahoma into the mix, as well as Georgia, Charlton. You struggle to find a weakness with these teams. It's not that they're not good or that they're good. You try to find a weakness, which is either one of those 4 teams, they haven't been exposed yet, Charlton.
Yeah, I love what you're saying, and I just want to see good football. But if you're UCLA, you're not supposed to get beaten down by Oklahoma when you're the same level school and probably as good at athletes potentially. LA has better athletes than Norman, Oklahoma. I know they recruit nationally, but that doesn't make any sense for Kelly. Penn State with a beatdown against Pittsburgh in the rain, an in-state rival game. Maybe Pittsburgh wants to cancel this rivalry after all, Big C. What's love got to do with it, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, you know, Pittsburgh did not want Penn State to have a wake-up call. They got a wake-up call from Youngstown the week before.
Yeah.
And I think Franklin, you know, let his team have the wrath from what, the lack of performance they had against Youngstown.
Yeah.
And they went up the road to Pittsburgh, Charlton, and brought out a kid.
I think they call it that.
Took him behind the windshield and handed it to himself.
Yeah, I know President Trump was rooting on the Wisconsin Badgers as the All-American team, as Taylor set a career-high rushing 253 yards. He ran all over Mexico, and POTUS thought it was the country, but he realized it was a football team. Maybe he's not so excited about it now, but really love Wisconsin's rushing attack. Because of your thoughts?
Well, Protas has to use geographic lessons, when it comes to the game. But, this is a history of Wisconsin, Charlton, is that you bring out the big boys up front.
Yeah.
I mean, you give them a couple stalks of corn, let them eat, and all that good go down. And you see it with the benefit. 253 yards rushing, Charlton.
Yeah.
Just an outstanding back. This young man was just under 2,000 yards last year as a freshman, which goes with the long lineage of Wisconsin running backs, Charlton. They play great defense up there.
Yep.
And if they can get Hornibrook, their quarterback, to be a little more consistent, Charlton, they can challenge Ohio State for the Big Ten title.
Well, I tell you what, they were in that same spot last year. They came close. Auburn had a party against Alabama State. I have to clean my glasses. I said Auburn had a party against Alabama. I thought Alabama was in Arkansas State, but all those schools that start with an A kind of get you disjointed sometimes. But a beat down, I'm telling you, Auburn, that game against Washington might do better for Washington than it does for Auburn, because as they beat people down, if Washington keeps winning as they did in the Pac-12, it might elevate Washington as much as Auburn has to play some stronger teams in the SEC. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, Auburn's going to be fine as the season goes on, and they got excited. All they heard was Alabama. And realized it was the tour down the street.
Yeah.
But, Auburn is one of those teams, Charlton, when you look at them, they're going to be fine. They got a great defense. They're developing some younger players this year, Charlton. They lost a lot of seniors last year. And, late in the season, you got to think about it. There's Auburn, there's Georgia, there's Alabama. They got to see each other.
Yeah, they do. I love football because they decided on the field. Notre Dame, touchdown Jesus. They were doing a lot of praying at Notre Dame when they saw Ball State, big bad Ball State, come in town. But Notre Dame kind of showed that they have a lot to work on offensively, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, they haven't been able to throw touchdowns. That's their problem. Quarterback has to be a little more consistent. Their defense has been solid.
Yeah.
They have some players on that Notre Dame team, Charlton, but offensively they have not been able to click completely. Early in the season, though, Charlton, playing Ball State in some bad weather, who knows? They may stay undefeated as this season goes on.
Yeah, that may happen. Big C, final college game, Stanford in the Pac-12 and Oregon are the two dominant teams. Oregon with a beat-down win at home, and then I look at Stanford, a closer win. It's a low-scoring game, a defensive slugfest against Southern California on the farm. I thought Southern Cal was right in there, but losing 17-3. I think that's the lowest scoring point total for USC since they were shut down or knocked out by Washington Huskies back in the early 90s, 27-0 up at Husky Stadium. Stanford looked good, but not that great. But I want to get your thoughts on Love and how well he played. Big C, your thoughts?
It was good to see Love get a little on track, Charlton. He's still not the back that he was last year, nor does he have the players around him that he had a year ago.
Yeah.
He's going to be fine as the season goes on, Charlton, because they're going to create opportunities as the quarterback develops the passing game. That's what's holding Love back more than anything else. All the teams, San Diego State and USC, were playing 8 in the box.
Yeah.
So he doesn't get tremendous opportunities to run. But when you look at Oregon, Charlton, with Herbert, the quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy is pinpointing passes all over the field. They're starting to look like the Oregon from a couple of years ago, Charlton, when Mariota was a quarterback.
Yeah.
And if he continues to play the way that he is, Charlton, he'll be the first quarterback taken in this upcoming NFL draft if he declares.
He looked very good. I do want to say that sports is a billion-dollar industry, and boys and girls sports is the foundation to this billion-dollar industry. And for every athletic and sporting event, you need athletic and event insurance. We work with Ben and Mark. They've been around half a century. They work with Big C Sports, whether you're a pro team, a collegiate team, a high school team, or your mom and pop soccer league. When you reach out to them, let them know Big C sent you. Big C, I want to turn to some pro football. I know you've been, it's like that pig, you want to roll it over. You're like, I've already done with the what they call appetizers. What are appetizers for you good old boys down south? Would that be catfish and chips? What's the appetizer, Big C? Your thoughts?
Charlton, appetizers, what we take to wash down the meal with. That's what an appetizer. We say that's alcohol, but that's where we can use our hands.
I understand. The Browns, talk about partying in Cleveland because they did not lose, even though they did not win. It's like what you call a good loss, Big C. That be something that the White House would say is a good loss, Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, when you look at the Browns, it had been over a year since they had won a football game.
Yeah.
But it was good to see them be competitive. And, everybody talked about Le'Veon Bell not being there, Charlton.
Yeah.
Big Ben was there. but he was still throwing interceptions. I don't know if he was in Cleveland and thought he was in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
So, he helped keep the Browns in this game.
Yeah.
One of the things that everybody will talk about Connor as a running back, said, well, look at what he did, almost 190 yards in total offense.
Yeah.
But he did not force the defense to play man coverage the way Le'Veon Bell does. Cleveland was allowed to play a lot of cover too. That's why he ended up with all those interceptions.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting what goes on from this point on with Cleveland. People will start blasting Tomlinson, saying, he's not getting the job done. And they overlooked at the quarterback that's throwing the interception.
Yeah.
He threw more interceptions than Nathan Peterman himself.
Yeah. That's funny. I know you want to get on some Nathan Peterman, but I got to get your thoughts. I know we talk about the great white hype, how the quarterbacks with Caucasian skin, they tell you that they can't miss guys. Tyrod Taylor was traded by Buffalo after making the playoffs for the first time in a decade. He actually played well. He outplayed Roethlisberger, who I believe had 5 picks in the AFC playoff game at home versus Jacksonville, and threw more picks against Cleveland. There's no talk about him being washed up, though. They're just saying, well, the ball was slippery, or maybe the offensive coordinator, or maybe we need to get some schemes changed around. But imagine had it been Tyrod that threw 5 interceptions in the playoffs last year, and then a couple of more in this game. He would have been all over the media saying he's a washed-up guy. I know Big Ben's going to get maybe the benefit of the doubt, but the great white hype, I think you saw it in this game. One guy wasn't good enough to keep, another guy can't keep the ball in his hands. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, something like I said, it comes down to the coaches. A lot of people want to malign Mike Tomlinson and blame him for Ben Roethlisberger's lack of performance. But as you indicated, you throw 8 interceptions in your last 2 games, and you're supposed to be one of the elite quarterbacks in the NFL, Chelsea. And your complexion will keep you there.
Yeah.
But they will allow you to throw 8 interceptions in 2 games, and people will try to find out what else is wrong. Even Le'Veon Bell got some of the blame for the interceptions, and he wasn't even there.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I just want people to see that, because whatever we say on Big C Sports, just Google it. We're right or wrong, but Google's always right for the most part, unless you quote us. Buffalo Bills, okay, I know you can chew that pig, Big C, before you start spitting out the comments on this one. The Buffalo Bills opened the first week of the regular season in the NFL without a starting quarterback. Peterman completed 5 passes, threw 2 interceptions, produced no points. Tyrod Taylor gets the Bills to the playoffs. First time in a decade, they get rid of him. Peterman starting, 5 interceptions first quarter last year at the Chargers. Tell me what's going on in Buffalo, Big C, the great white hype. Your thoughts?
Well, I'm trying to find something positive out of Peterman's performance, Chelsea. You said he was 5 of 12 passing?
Yeah, 5 passes, two interceptions, Big C.
Well, he had 24 yards in those 5 completions.
Yeah.
So he averaged a little over 4 yards of completion.
Yeah.
So, eventually he would have got a first down, I guess. But,
eventually.
The amazing part of the game, they didn't have a first down the entire first half.
No.
They did not have a first down the entire first half. And even more ironic, Chelsea, he came out of that game with a 0 QBR rating.
Yeah.
0.
Yeah.
That means it did not rate.
Yeah.
And this guy, the last 2 starts that he's had in the NFL, he's been just under Ben Roethlisberger in interceptions.
Yeah.
He's thrown 7 interceptions. But I'll take that back. In his last 3 quarters in the NFL, not games, his last 3 quarters.
Wow.
He's thrown 7 interceptions.
Wow.
You think about that ratio. 7 quarters, not 7, but 3 quarters.
Yep.
As an NFL starting quarterback, and you've thrown 7 interceptions, and you're starting in the NFL, you force a black quarterback to get traded.
Yep.
And people saying that you're NFL caliber. And then the coach is saying that they're evaluating the quarterback.
Yeah.
Charlton, you cut quarterbacks like that.
Yeah,
you throw 7 interceptions in 2.5 quarters, you get cut. You don't even make it through the preseason.
No.
And he was that bad in the preseason, Charlton. So we stated that the Buffalo Bills were the only team starting the first week of the NFL season without a starting quarterback. And it showed true.
Yeah.
They did not put any points on the scoreboard.
Yeah. And that's what they wanted. That's how they wanted it. They decided to have it that way because it just doesn't make any sense. We just ask people to Google whatever you see. So Tyrod Taylor, first time since 1971. You think about that. Roethlisberger, we have our first opening week tie since 1971, and Roethlisberger had a lot to do with that because he threw so many picks. And then we talked about Buffalo and Peterman. I want to get on to the next thought. Everyone was saying that Brady and Gronkowski were missing for the OTAs, and it's going to be a big problem for Tom. He's drinking too many milkshakes with minerals and all that other stuff. Maybe sardines and whatever else, seaweed. Maybe what he's drinking, we should all be drinking. But they looked pretty good, and they had a good victory over Houston. But Houston, Watson fumbled the first snap, maybe some timing issues there. But he didn't play that bad, even though he could have played better. But your thoughts again on Tom Brady and Gronkowski, Big C?
Well, it just goes to prove, Charlton, that professional men of leisure can be leisurely during all season. Yeah. Tom Brady enjoyed his time during all season, but, Charlton, 18 years behind center,
yeah.
You kind of have an inkling for what's going to go on. And everybody says, well, you got to have the OTAs. I remember showing up late for training camp the last couple of years that I played, Charlton.
Yeah.
And it didn't affect me. Matter of fact, it made me better off because I was rested.
Yep.
And when you think about Gronkowski and Brady missing OTAs, who was upset about it? The media. We never heard anything from the team.
Yeah.
It was the media not having them to interview.
Yeah.
That's who it bothers. Some players need it, Charlton. And those are the players that don't know how to be professional year-round.
Yeah.
If you know how to be professional year-round, Charlton, OTAs mean nothing to you.
Yeah.
Khalil Mack didn't show up for an OTA.
Yeah.
That's all he did.
Speaking of Khalil Mack, last night, Lambeau Field, that's what NFL is. The frozen tundra, even though it wasn't frozen. But seeing a game, Lambeau Field with the Bears and the Packers. Now, the theater, of course, you just talked about it, because of what happened with the Raiders. And you think about them letting go of their best player, Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack gets a pick six. He gets a strip fumble. He forces Rodgers out of the pocket consistently. But he didn't have as much help on the offensive side of the ball as they were up to a 20-0 lead. Rodgers gets injured, gets cut it off. Maybe some theater. It's no Willis Reed, Big C, but it was a good moment. Comes back on, and at the halftime they had given a nice celebration to some of the Packer greats. But Rodgers was just Aaron Rodgers. He's calm under pressure, and I'm telling you, that's what football should be. But Mack, he should be defensive player of the game for that game, and also Rodgers maybe offensively. But Rodgers threw a 20-yard pass, and the receiver ran about 70 yards for a touchdown. It wasn't Rodgers running for a touchdown, even though he gets the credit for throwing 20 yards and having yak. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. He did what you thought that he would do, as well as Khalil Mack. It was great theater last night, Charlton. It showed how one organization benefited from one other organization's stupidity by letting a player go. You think about great pass rushes and how infrequently they come along. You go back to Thomas, who played in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Derek Thomas didn't come along the next couple of years, Charlton. You think about Lawrence Taylor with the Giants. Lawrence Taylor wasn't popping up everywhere, Charlton.
No.
We saw Van Miller come along a decade later, Charlton. Wow. This reminiscent of Derek Thomas and Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, Khalil Mack shows up. Now we got that same type of rivalry we had between Derek Thomas and Lawrence Taylor. Who was the best rush kid in football, Charlton?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you had Von Miller and Khalil Mack.
Yeah.
Fighting for that same type of supremacy, Charlton.
Yeah.
And you got an organization saying, we don't want this. He doesn't benefit us.
No.
Not only do you demoralize your organization, Charlton, but you upgrade another organization's defense.
Yep.
And you could see the immediate impact. And the thing about it, Charlton, it wasn't on a regional game. It was on a national stage.
Yeah.
And so when everybody who watches professional sports, and you see this, and you say, how do you let a superior player in this league go? And Houston had about J.J. Watt.
Yeah.
No, Charlton. J.J. Watt will be in Houston as long as he wants to be in Houston.
Yeah.
You take any other prominent, dominant, white football player in the NFL on defense.
Yeah.
He's not leaving. Luke Kuechly is not leaving Carolina.
No.
Sean Lee is not leaving Dallas. These things are not happening. But it shows you that these African-American players are expendable. regardless of how dominant and beneficial they are for your organization,
Yeah.
you're let them go do it in another city.
Well, that's
rather than succumbing to them and making them be high-paid players that they want to be.
And I think Al Michaels and Collinsworth, they were giving Gruden the business because they were saying maybe they just didn't know what they had. And I think even Collinsworth opened the bag and said that he had a conversation with Mac and said, if the Raiders would have called you, or John Gruden would have called you and said, look, I know we have some contract issues, but that's business. I'm going to do whatever I can to keep you in silver and black. Would you have stayed? He said, yeah, it would have made a big difference. But he heard the antithesis of that. He heard Gruden say, well, we didn't win that much last year with him. The same garbage happened with Chicago last night. Mac doesn't play offense. Mac plays defense. If you're going to criticize a guy for playing the way he played last night, he was not in the OTAs. He didn't play in the preseason. All he did was balled out last night, not even knowing who his teammates were. If you can't take that guy and win with him, then why are you getting $100 million? Big C, the great white hype, Jimmy Garoppolo, $137 million quarterback, 16 points, 3 interceptions, 1 pick six, 46% ratio. Colin Kaepernick, his last 8 games, San Francisco, 16 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Google it. One guy gets fired from the team. The other guy gets $137 million. The Bay Area media is very quiet now. They can't blame the coach. They can't blame the offensive coordinator. But you have players saying he tips his passes. 3 picks, one's a pick six, and $137 million more than Joe Montana, Steve Young combined. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, you know, when you're playing in the latter part of the season and you got teams just playing to get through the season, playing out the schedule, it's a little different than what it is when you got to start the season and people have tape on you.
Yeah.
But that's what all the media proponents in San Francisco don't understand. The NFL has tape.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and when they get a chance to break down that tape, they break down your weaknesses in a hurry.
Oh, yeah.
And then you got to come out and play a team that's hungry, the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
A team that was 1 game short of the Super Bowl last year. They're not going to make it easy on you.
No.
And they got after Jimmy G, and you know, Jimmy be gone pretty soon.
Well, I'm telling you.
But,
Yeah.
but you know, when you look at it, they knew what he was and wasn't, Charlton.
Yeah.
He didn't intimidate them in any kind of way. When you're playing pickup games in the last part of the season in the NFL, Charlton, a lot of players look good at that point.
Yeah.
But now that when you have to start the season and you're the head of a team,
Yep.
he was in New England, there was no pressure.
No.
Tom Brady was coming back.
No.
And even, you know, Bissett won games when Garoppolo got hurt.
Yeah.
So Tom Brady was coming back.
Yeah.
But now that Tom Brady's not coming through that door in San Francisco, all the pressure is on you.
Yeah.
And the excuses will start to roll in about 2 weeks.
Yep.
It'll be Kyle Shanahan before you realize it.
Well, Big C, Belichick's a pretty smart guy, doesn't he? Doesn't he look pretty good? Is he smarter now, Big C, than the pundit said he was for letting Jimmy go?
Didn't everybody say he should have got rid of Brady?
Yeah.
I looked at what Brady did in that game against Houston. I mean, he had a touchdown his first 3 passes of the game.
Yeah. Yep.
So all of a sudden, you know, and he hung up a couple more.
Yeah.
You know, looked pretty good. I think he had 3 touchdowns in the game, Charlton.
Yep.
So he had 3 touchdowns. Garoppolo had 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
I wonder if they question
Belichick. Yeah.
about Garoppolo's performance.
Well, I tell you what, to be white and to be hyped by the media into $137 million, these guys are as quiet as a mouse now. They're trying to blame everybody else but the guy that had the ball in his hand and was he was so good at just leading the defender to where he was going to throw. You wonder, what were these guys drinking when they were saying he was a can't miss? Miami Dolphins, I tell you what, after weather delay, they shocked the Tennessee Titans, scoring 27 points. Frank Gore still running solid, 60.1 yards. But I want to go the New York Giants versus Jacksonville. Lots of hype about Odell Beckham. Is he going to line up with the best defensive back in football? A lot of hype in that game. But I think overall, when you look at the running game, which you got to have a good running game to win, I look at what Barkley did out of Penn State. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, you know, Barkley had a pretty decent game for his first game. He had over 100 yards, but he also had a 60-yard run, Charlton, that propelled into that.
Yeah.
The Achilles heel in New York, Charlton, with the Giants, is Eli Manning.
Yep.
Eli Manning was what he was last year and the year before that. A quarterback who was prone to turning over the football, Charlton, not getting the ball to his receivers in a timely fashion. So regardless of what you put in New York,
Yeah.
Eli Manning is a declining talent.
Yeah.
That's what the NFL has to recognize. You can't sit there and say, well, he has 2 Super Bowl titles. He's still a declining talent. They had an opportunity to draft Donald, who's playing tonight for the Jets.
Yeah.
They went to the running back.
Yep.
But, Charlton, if you're throwing interceptions, I don't care who your running back is.
It matters.
You're throwing interceptions.
It matters a lot, Big C. And so we know that it all matters in love and war, and we'll get on to some more games in just a second coming up on Big C Sports. But I want to just say for all the people, we're going to have your thoughts as we come back in about 3 seconds after the break. And we are back after the break now on Big C Sports. Carolina and Cam Newton, and we have Prescott with the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas has no one to throw the ball to, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Prescott is going to get blamed for a lot of lackluster things that happened in Dallas, Charlton. You got rid of the best kicker in the NFL. You missed the field goal, Charlton, and would have kept you in the game. You did not punt the ball away, Charlton, in the last couple of minutes of the game, which would have saved you field position against an outstanding defense in Carolina.
Yeah.
But first and foremost on that game, Charlton, as you mentioned, he has no weapons.
No.
When you look at the Cowboys receiving corps, Charlton, you can play man defense all day long.
Yeah.
Which allows your linebackers to stay in the box. And that's what Carolina did, Charlton. They don't have to sit up and play zone.
No.
They're not worried about anything. They can have a spy that covers Ezekiel if he tries to come out of the backfield.
Yeah.
But that offensive line also is beat up, Charlton. You took a former offensive tackle and tried to put him in at center. A totally awkward position for him, just angle-wise and power with a nose guard right on top of you.
Yep.
You got a new offensive guard in also, Charlton. Dallas is in a lot of dismay.
Yeah.
You have an owner who wants to be a GM, who is out of touch with football, Charlton. He's sort of like a John Gruden right now.
Yeah.
I know what's best.
Yeah.
And I can't figure it out because I don't know who to have as a receiver, and then I can just stick anybody out there and they're going to be successful. These guys scare nobody. You have to scare people in the NFL, Charlton.
Yep. Yeah.
To make them respect you. Odell Beckham didn't even scare anybody in the Giants game. Ramsey covered him all over the field. He wasn't scared.
No.
He might have caught 11 balls, but he only averaged 10 yards a catch, Charlton.
Yeah.
So you got to realize half the balls he caught were from less than 5 yards.
Yep.
And Dallas couldn't even get anybody to catch a ball from 5 yards.
Very good point. Tampa Bay, New Orleans, what an electrifying shootout. 48-40, the most points in the league game since the merger of both quarterbacks combined for 900 passing yards and 900 passing yards in one game between these two guys. Oftentimes, it can take you about 2 games to get that between two teams. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, if you're the New Orleans Saints, you got to look at yourself professionally. They played outstanding defensive football last season.
Yep.
This game against Tampa Bay, who was quite electrifying during the preseason, they put up a lot of points. Here's a team that's sitting there like, wow, we put up 40 points and still lose. Drew Brees is walking through the locker room with a scowl on his face today.
Yeah,
but, you look at Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's done this before, Charlton.
Oh, yeah.
He's thrown 6 touchdowns in a pass in a game before.
Yep.
But he's also thrown 6 interceptions. So, he's that hot and cold quarterback. He's doing a marvelous job for Tampa Bay right now, Charlton. But when you talk about an electrifying 88-point performance between two teams, Charlton,
yeah.
Everybody who had a fantasy ticket going on that game was excited.
They're all excited. Marvin Lewis got the Cincinnati Bengals off to a great start, a victory over at Indianapolis. And Andrew Luck, not as lucky as a lot of people thought he would be, Big C. I know he's a good quarterback. I know he was injured, and he's not the same since he was injured, Big C. So with Andrew Luck, I know he's a prodigal quarterback. They want him to be great. But just give me your thoughts on what you think of his performance.
Well, Charlton, he put the ball in the air over 50 times. The thing that I took away from Luck's performance is that the lack of velocity on the football.
Yeah.
Is that his receivers had to break down a lot for the ball to get there. They had to wait. So he wasn't throwing receivers open, Charlton. He was throwing to open receivers.
Yep.
And so that's what I took away from his performance. I thought that Cincinnati would win that game, Charlton, because they had been playing outstanding defense during the preseason.
Yeah.
And Andy Dalton looked like he had done 3 years ago, Charlton. He had taken a step back and rejuvenated himself to a quarterback that he had been before.
Yeah.
So I really like Cincinnati. Cincinnati in that game and what they have going for the rest of the season. The thing with Indianapolis, the defense played better than what I thought they would play.
Yep.
But that's just one game. Can they hold up that intensity for the entire season?
Speaking of intensity, Kansas City Chiefs out to the Los Angeles Chargers, and they beat them. Patrick Mahomes, and you said Patrick Mahomes when everybody else was getting the great white hype treatment, and that he would be one of the most talked about quarterbacks in the first part of the season and probably all year. He throws the ball like it's a rocket launcher, and he's pretty accurate. And Hunt is like a track guy playing football. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Chuck, when you think about Mahomes, this is a guy who completed 72% of his passes in the preseason. And he completed them all over the field. The short ones, the long ones, Charlton. You know, and you got Tyreek Hill, who is just a jitterbug in the backfield.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's not at the wide receiver position. There's nothing that he can't do. You have a solid running back in Hunt. But Mahomes, Charlton, is the reason why Kansas City did what it did on Sunday to San Diego.
Yeah.
Philip Rivers passed for over 400 yards. He has a tremendous receiving core in San Diego.
Yep.
But, you know, you got to look at what Andy Reid saw in Mahomes. He got rid of Alex Smith, who was an all-pro quarterback last year, Charlton.
Yeah.
Who had the best season of his professional career. And so I got a guy right now that could be better than what you just did.
Yeah.
And Mahomes in the first game proved that he was right, Chuck.
Yeah, so that's true. Alex Smith keeps on chugging away. You look at Arizona, 24-6. Adrian Peterson, a touchdown, 96 rushing yards. I know a lot of people said he was over the hill, but he played great in that game. Your thoughts on Alex Smith and also Adrian Peterson, two guys that just don't seem to get respect no matter how good they are, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Alex Smith is a professional quarterback, Chuck, to say the least. And that's what he is. He's just a professional. He goes to the next team and plays like a professional. He doesn't pout. He doesn't carry baggage. He goes out and uplifts his team. And we saw that with Washington, Chuck.
Yeah.
This was a team that was beat up during the preseason. And Alex Smith said, hey, guys, just follow me.
Yeah.
Adrian Peterson, you know, he did the same thing when he went to Arizona. You recall when New Orleans released him last year, Chuck. He went to Arizona and had a real good game. Can he sustain this, Chuck? The NFL season is long. He had the 96 yards and the touchdown.
Yep.
But it's a long season, Chuck, and you're not going to play Arizona every week.
No, that's true.
You're going to play a lot better defenses as the season goes on. But good job getting off to a great start by Washington. When you look at the NFC East, Chuck,
yep.
You know, it is what we thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Dallas will struggle. The Giants will struggle. Washington would be a decent team, and Philadelphia should win the division. Yeah,
it looks good so far, Big C. The Broncos pull out against the Seattle Seahawks, and Case Keenum over 300 yards passing, 24-27 victory. And Russell Wilson did all he could do. Pete Carroll felt they were jobbed in that game, and he knows what it takes to get jobbed because it's happened to him before. But just give me your thoughts on that game up in the Mile High where they have, I think something is legalized there, so people tend to be a little bit more relaxed. But maybe those officials were a little bit relaxed on some of the calls, according to Pete Carroll. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Chuck, I look at Russell Wilson, and I'm always amazed with him. This is a quarterback that does all he can do every week for his team to win. He's responsible for every touchdown that goes up on the board, seems like.
Yep.
And he had no help from his offensive line. You would think that when Seattle got to the Super Bowl the first time, they said, okay, what we got to do is make sure that we can get back.
Yeah.
By securing that offensive protection around him, drafting the left offensive tackle, drafting a center, drafting a guard, draft some people that help, draft a big-time receiver.
Yeah.
That's what we need to do. Marshawn Lynch wasn't going to be there forever, Charlton. Draft another running back to groom.
Yeah. They
haven't done that, Charlton, since they went to a Super Bowl. They haven't drafted the players that Russell Wilson needs to stay an elite quarterback in the NFL. And his career will be shortened, Charlton, if they don't start doing that soon. Make some trades, make some draft picks. That defense of Denver and Von Miller, you know, was relentless.
He's amazing.
He was all over Russell Wilson, Charlton. If nothing else, he should send all the line and thank you.
I understand that, Big C. So we got two more games tonight. Sam Darnold, all the media people all over the country on all the networks were saying Sam Darnold is a can't miss. In fact, they praised him so much that they got rid of Bridgewater and sent him down to New Orleans. Tonight against Detroit, first throw, 37-yard pick six for touchdown. Sam Darnold's first NFL throw is an interception trying to throw across the field. So I want to get your thoughts on all of the pundits that said they studied game film, they looked at it over and over and over again, and he's a can't-miss guy. In fact, he's so good, they should trade the guy who actually been to the playoffs in Bridgewater. Again, your great white hype. Your thoughts, Big C?
Well, Charlton, I mean, this is the thing that's going to happen when you throw a rookie out there right off the bat. He's going to take chances, and he's not going to always recognize the game speed right off the bat. But he's going to make mistakes, and he's going to make good plays. You just got to give him time. And, you know, one of the things you have to do with rookies in the preseason is that you got to let them work with the number ones. The Jets did a lot of that.
Yeah.
But going to Detroit has a new coach. I mean, you weren't happy with the coach that you had last year that took you to 9-7, Jim Conwell, so you bring in Matt Patricia. Matt Patricia has Matthew Stafford, who has never won a playoff game. So when you look at these two quarterbacks talking on paper, they're quite similar.
Yeah.
Matt Stafford has NFL experience, but he's never been able to win a big game.
Yeah,
and they blame the coaches for that.
Yeah.
So, you know, which one is the better? Do you take the rookie who's going to just go out and swing it up and take chances? Or do you take the veteran who's probably going to play cautiously and end up losing the game? So, you know, I'm going to go with Donald in this. You know, I'll give him that mistake, but I think he'll learn from that mistake and say these guys are a lot faster than what I thought they would.
Yeah, I definitely. I want him to do well. I just wish they would have sat him for a couple of weeks and let him learn behind Bridgewater, because you have a playoff quarterback. Now you don't. Tonight's game in Oakland, California, the Raiders. I think they're still the Raiders. In fact, I don't know who they are anymore, but they're led by John Gruden, who decided he doesn't need the best players in the AFC on defense, so he traded them, and then he said he didn't know what happened. So now you have a high-scoring offense in the Rams coming to town, a team that has shown that they've drafted right. They have probably the best defensive line, at least in the NFC. They have a quarterback who can throw the ball downfield, great running back in the backfield, and I want to get your thoughts. I don't even know what the Raiders have anymore. Beast Mode is injured. He's not going to be starting. And then Carr out there on his own doesn't have a great core of receivers anymore. And they gave it the best defensive player in football. Your thoughts on tonight's Monday night game?
Well, look at John Gruden got down to the final cut last week. The Raiders are starting this season with 53 players on the active roster. Only 25 of those players on the roster last year, Charlton. So this is a whole new team. So when people want to sit up and say, well, the Raiders, you can't even say they're much improved. You know,
you can't.
That's the thing when you're looking at the Raiders roster. You got in a $100 million coach and the organization. You can't say that you improved yourself during the offseason because you have 28 new players on the roster.
Yeah.
28 new players. That takes some time to get the continuity.
Yeah.
But when you look at the other end of the state and you look at the Rams, Charlton, everybody is saying that the Rams improved themselves.
Yeah.
They improved themselves at receiver. They improved themselves on defense, Charlton.
Yep.
Everywhere the Rams improved themselves. And you can't say the same about the downstate rivals in Oakland.
Yeah.
You know, you have a team that was in the playoffs last year, Charlton. You paid your running back, you paid your defensive lineman, you paid your quarterbacks, Charlton. You paid your offensive linemen, you paid your wide receivers. Everybody's happy.
Yeah.
Now, what happens when everybody's happy?
Yeah, they do. They tend to do that. So we know all fairs and love and war, whether it's the U.S. Open, whether it's the BMW Championships. Love college football, love seeing these great crowds all over this country. These young kids being happy about cheering on football all throughout the week, and then they had the big games on Saturday nights. NFL is great. I think there's been a lot of hype. I wish everybody nothing but the best, and we hope that we'll have a great NFL season. Big C, back in the day, there was a man by the name of Drew Bundini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man, and he would always tell Ali, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Rumble, young men, rumble. Big C, what are you looking forward to in the sports universe?
Well, Charlton, what I'm looking forward to is college football coming up this week. Big C has its own top 10 rating, Charlton, in college football.
Let me hear it.
Let's go with everybody. Let's look at number 1, Alabama. Number 2, Clemson. Number 3, Ohio State. Number 4, Oklahoma. Number 5, Georgia. Number 6, Wisconsin. Number 7, Stanford. Number 8, West Virginia. Number 9, Virginia Tech. Number 10, Mississippi State. Charleston, we got a Big Ten that will go out there and rival anybody's top 10 in the country.
Yeah. Well, Biggsy, I love it. I love football. I love all the sports, especially I love this great country, and you can love it too every Monday through Friday at 5 and 6 p.m. worldwide when you follow Big C Sports on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America, and Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. As we always tell you, there's never, ever any excuse for domestic violence. If you know any man or woman going through that garbage, please call 911. And as we always tell you on every Big C Sports show, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.